Worried about keeping up with your fave friends all summer? Or posting every perfectly pink sunset you see? Don't sweat the Connect. You can have it made in the shade with 4 lines of unlimited data for $100 a month. Scroll the staycation pics, find your new go-to takeout spot, or catch some rays on video chat. Whatever you and the crew are into, all the data makes it all that much better. Smile. You're on Cricket.
Cricket Core acquired on 4 lines. Data speed limited to 3 megabits per second. Cricket may slow data speeds when the network is busy. Additional fees, usage, and restrictions apply.
Hello, everyone. This is Dom. We have Will today on the phone because he could not be here, but we have him long-distance podcasting. And today, there you go. And today we, excuse the somewhat robotic phone talk. You can tell it's from a phone, but it's still, like, rather clean. We also have a special guest today on our first hockey podcast. Say hello to Jake. He's our resident hockey expert, Philly fan.
How's it going?
He'll be on a lot more hockey podcasts than football, but we'll have him on football as well.
Hard to get a hold of.
If you've come from our football podcast, welcome. This is going to be a little bit different than football. It's not going to be as guided. It's going to be more like a discussion.
A little open-ended.
Yeah, a little open-ended. We're going to talk less statistics, probably more of a, like I said, discussion kind of podcast. And then you can follow us at on Instagram and Twitter at We Are For The Fan. And we're going to dive right in. Our hockey podcast, this podcast, we're only going to have probably every other week up until around January when football slows down, and then we're going to pick up hockey a little bit more than football. And we're excited for when that comes. We're excited to have a hockey podcast. We're excited to do this for the first time. Very excited. And so today what we're going to do really is we're going to break down every team a little bit. We're going to talk about every team, how we think they're going to do.
A little bit of their season outlook.
Yeah, a little bit of the season outlook, what they've done in the offseason a little bit, what we expect them to do during the season. And
some
we're
questions
excited.
that face the teams. And
yeah. We're going to start with, real fast, this affects everyone in hockey. Today, the NHL Deputy Commissioner, Bill Daly, hopes to have next Hockey World Cup in the fall of 2020. So our last one about, what is it? Not this offseason, not last offseason, but the offseason before was, again, interesting because it was the first time it's ever happened. But what do you think, boys? Will, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
I mean, I never really saw the first World Cup of hockey, but I'm really excited to see, what it's all about.
It's interesting because this, parallels the controversy of them not being able to go to the Olympics and seeing them on the world stage, them represent a country. I mean, what do you think, Jake?
I mean, the North America team was fun to watch. The under 25,
young guys.
They were real fun. True. Not as big of a fan of it because a lot of players got injured, which is why I'm surprised they're going to do it again.
And they do it right in August, right before the season.
Yeah, it's right before the season starts.
You're not wrong. Yeah, that's true.
I know Claude Giroux didn't get fully healthy, and that was his bad year that he bounced back from. Was due mostly to the World Cup of Hockey.
Yeah, and no matter how you look at it, it affects all the teams, all the players, all the fans. It's a big deal in hockey to have this, the time that it is, where it falls in the season. Players don't have the off-season. They have every off-season to train or do whatever they do.
Especially if they go and play in wherever the World Championship is at the end of the season, wherever in Europe that ends up being played. So it even shortens this season even more, or off-season even more.
There's pretty much no details in this right now. Looking into 2020, this is really like the first step towards it. So obviously we'll have more details coming into it, and we'll keep you updated there. So let's move right in, boys. We're going to start with the Western Conference. We'll start in the Pacific, and we're going to start right off the bat with the Vancouver Canucks. This is a young team, mostly young team, especially with the Sedins gone now. We look forward to a lot of youth on this team to pick up slack. Brock Besser from last year coming off a decent year. and then some other guys. Tell us a little bit about the youth we have going into it.
I like a lot of the young players they got going through there. I mean, Jim Benning's done a great job when it comes to drafting. They just need to take away his phone when it comes to July 1st and free agency.
Yeah.
A lot of questionable signings with old, like, just enforcer type or grinder type players.
Absolutely.
But Elias Peterson should be and showed in the first game
in
pretty
preseason,
good.
right? Preseason, he's done well. First game this season, he's done well.
I don't know how to say his name. Elias Peterson.
Peterson.
I
think it's Peterson.
I think it's Peterson, but
Peterson. I don't know exactly. Especially to our audience, do not look forward to exactly correct pronunciations all the time.
Especially from me.
Will doesn't have the best track record when it comes to pronunciations in hockey, but it is what it is. They also, this offseason, they picked up Jay Beagle from the championship Capitals. He ran the fourth line in Washington for years and years and years. The penalty kill for years and years and years. He's not, first line talent. He's not, an offensive powerhouse, but he runs a good grinding line. So that's
he's a solid player.
He's a good depth player.
He's
there. He's established.
He's not someone you want to keep in a high role, but if you get him, the fourth line minutes, ham the other team in for a shift, and then get your big guys out there.
He's good on face-offs. He's a good face-off guy. Antoine Roussel.
I'm gonna be more looking forward to the Canucks maybe another year down the line when they get Demko, the other Dahlin.
Yeah.
Who's still very good, and Peterson in a couple years. They got some scary prospects up there.
They have the potential to be something.
Quinn Hughes. I always forget about Quinn Hughes for some reason.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and Quinn Hughes is. They brought him down to wherever he was playing previous before he was
in
drafted.
Michigan. He's going back. He's probably going to play another. Probably going to graduate through Michigan before he comes in.
Yeah, but so they decided on that. They are not looking to have a season this season. They're looking to have a season in the future. So I mean, they're a team to look at, not now but later.
Yeah.
I mean, they also got Antoine Roussel, which he is what he is. He's what you were talking about, more of a enforcer type guy. He's not a skill guy, not a finesse guy. Absolutely.
Take his phone away.
Oh, and video games.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about this.
I mean, we might as well. It's kind of funny.
Oh, jeez.
You gotta, especially what Patrick Line said.
Oh man.
You gotta blame it on something. Blame the year on when you had a season that bad last season.
Oof.
You got to do something different. So I guess we're taking away video games on the road.
No Fortnite.
No Fortnite. And we forgot to introduce, of course, as always, we have intern Joe here today.
What up?
Not doing too much today, but he's here.
Not too much, but sneezing, sniffling, and taking in pollen. That's pretty much about it.
They have Tanner Kuro. Tanner Kuro's from Chicago.
Yeah, a lot of these guys too that he signed that were a little questionable. He signed them to term too, which is the problem.
They're not exactly gonna make an impact up front. They're not gonna do too much in this season and future seasons. Vancouver's really kind of stacked up on depth a little bit more than anything.
I mean, I know everyone likes to make fun of Jake Virtanen, but I always kind of liked him. He's still got to break
Jake
out.
Virtanen a little bit. I mean, he's also playing on the Canucks. You don't have too much to happen there,
Yeah,
Brock Besser's still the standout. I mean, he is what it is. With the Sedin's gone, Besser has to maybe step up a little bit. I mean, other than that, what else do they have talent-wise?
Just futures. It's all about the futures game.
The future, yeah, that's right. So that's really it for the Canucks. There's not much going on there this season. It's just all about the future for the Canucks, which is perfectly fine.
Move on down to the Oilers.
Yeah, the Oilers. This is interesting because they had a great season. Cam Talbot had a good season. Connor McDavid brought them to the playoffs 2 years ago. They were exciting, and then last season it was one line that produced, and then it was a far drop off from there. Why?
Cam Talbot was not great.
No.
But he also was running to the ground of all these starts he got the year before. They had a historically bad penalty kill.
Absolutely.
Like, when I say historic, it was it will be probably the worst for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
They were first in a away penalty kill by a little bit, but their home penalty kill was so bad that it dropped them to still last in penalty kill by a good 16%.
Jeez.
Or I don't know the exact number, but they were still way down there.
A massive drop off.
Their home penalty kill was letting in goals at a rate of every other penalty kill was getting a goal.
And obviously, you can't have a team without being able to perform on penalty kill and power plays.
It'll kill you.
I mean, really, again, what else has changed since last year when it comes to production? Who is going to produce this year other than their first line? Other than obviously McDavid. We know McDavid's out for blood this year. We know he wants to produce more than anyone else.
I didn't think it's possible, but he looks faster.
He looks
today faster.
Today they played the Devils in the Global Series, and
he blew right by everybody.
Yeah, I mean he was impressive.
Away from the cop speed.
Yeah, get away from the cops.
Gus Johnson over here.
Then they have Milan Lucic. We know what you get from Milan Lucic. Everyone knows what he does, how he produces. Playing with the guys he does with Draisaitl and McDavid, he's obviously going to get goals. He'll get assists and whatnot. But he's not the finesse skills player. But he's out there to throw the body and enforce a little bit. Draisaitl, who I'm still not convinced on. I don't care what anyone says.
I liked him when they drafted him.
I'm not convinced on Draisaitl.
His contract's terrible.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, if you remember when they signed it to that, I'm like, well, lockout's coming.
Yeah. What's their defense like? Who do they have on defense?
They got Clefbaum, who is their big guy, who's I think finally he's coming into the season healthy.
Yep.
He's been forcing himself back,
and he's not a bad player.
He's not terrible.
He can do what they need where he is.
Adam Larson isn't great.
Darnell
Nurse he's young and he's getting better. Mm-hmm. Last year they blamed a lot of their problems on Sekera being hurt, which I won't buy. One player getting hurt won't tank your whole season that bad.
Absolutely not. Who else did they got on defense?
Which he is also hurt again.
Oh my gosh.
Sekera out for the year, most likely with another, I think the same thing in ACL. But they got Chris Russell on a
That's right.
terrible
They've
contract.
had him. Yep.
And their new pick, Evan Bouchard, who I am a big fan of.
Ooh.
Big fan.
So we look forward to seeing what he could do this year. I mean, it's not a star-studded defense. It's an all-right defense as far as they go.
It's Cam Talbot, keep the puck out of the net enough for McDavid to outscore the other team.
It's an average defense. And in front of a goalie who we don't know how he's going to perform again this year. So we'll see what they can do. They didn't pick up the win again. Or they didn't pick up the win today.
They lost to the Devils.
To the Devils, but it's only, day one for them. So obviously playing at home is a big deal for them. What they can do at home, if they can do better at home, which shouldn't even be a problem. It's your home arena.
Yeah, that's what's really
and
strange.
And it's Edmonton. No one's competing for. They're not competing for.
They got that new arena, which
fans
maybe make the tickets a little bit more expensive, but
they're gonna pay it and they're gonna go to those games still.
Yeah, if people show up to Leafs games, no other team has an excuse for people not showing up because of ticket prices.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the truth. So that's really how it goes for the Oilers. No real big acquisitions. I mean, maybe Brodziak's the biggest one.
I mean, they're going to be strapped soon.
Yeah.
Because that McDavid contract's fully in effect. Mm-hmm. Same with the Draisaitl contract.
How long does the Draisaitl contract last?
I believe they were both 8-year deals.
Jeez. So Draisaitl's locked down there. They have two players locked down for money right now.
Big money.
Is Lucic locked down?
Yeah, he's locked down until he plays through the 2022-23 season.
So he's there for years to come. I mean, we know the core of this team, and we know what the core of this team is to moving forward for a few years. but they have to do something else about the rest of the team. There's a drop-off that's huge.
Yeah, they need Jesse Puljujarvi to step up a bit and
Absolutely.
get some third-line scoring.
Absolutely.
I mean, was going to say Nugent Hopkins, but they're adamant on that he plays best with McDavid.
Yeah.
Which really would, if they could separate them, would make their center. They would have a really good center depth with a 1-2-3 as Nugent Hopkins being a third line center, which is crazy. And a former first overall.
Yeah. And, I mean, we know what we need. We know what the Oilers need to do moving on. It's just, how well that can they execute.
It's Conchirelli stay out of the way.
Off seasons and stuff, but
another one of the teams that are getting submarined by their GM. Moving on to Anaheim, I guess.
Anaheim, yeah. Anaheim's... We were talking about this before the podcast. Anaheim has a window that's real small. Their core is deteriorating. Corey Perry is out 5 months after knee surgery this year. Corey Perry is really... I mean, he's already dropped off from what people know him as. He's not a star anymore.
Everyone still has him real great from that 150-goal year where he won the Richard. And I think most people knew that was never going to happen again.
Yeah, and he hasn't gotten anywhere close to it, I believe. I mean, last season he really didn't do too much. Kessler
it's just
wasn't healthy last
season. This perpetual problem with him. It's like he got hurt sometime late in the season, had hip surgery. And
Kessler? Yeah. And he didn't go into the season playing either.
Experimental treatment or something like in somewhere, I think it was in Europe. Kind of like the NFL with Andrew Luck, Ryan Kessler.
Yeah,
he could be playing in a month, he could be playing in a week, could miss the whole year. No one knows.
Yeah, and he's a part of their team to say the least. He's a center.
If they want to make the playoffs, he needs to be playing.
Yeah, absolutely. To compete, he needs to be playing. Completely. Getzlaf is really the only star on offense that can do everything as far as that team goes.
I mean, they got some young guys that are really impressing me.
Ricard Raquel,
of course,
performs every year. You
love him.
I love Ricard Raquel just because look at how he produces the past 2 years. I would think he is their future on the team at least. They have some young guys for sure.
He had a career high of 69 points in 77 games last year.
Yeah, not bad. Almost a point per game.
So
year before that, I know he did pretty well.
50,
even the year before
51, and I think it was his third year in the league.
Yeah. So, I mean,
they got Sam Steele, who's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Still only 20 years old. Maxime Comtois.
Yeah, and we saw him score their first goal this season.
And, of course, John Gibson.
Yeah, John Gibson.
Can John Gibson
Do they still have Ryan Miller backing him up?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nice 1-2 right there. Ryan Miller's not a starter anymore, but
Ryan Miller's not star level anymore, but
he's as far as a backup. Come on. He can play starter minutes. We know that. Or at least he was able to not too long ago. I mean, he can easily back up John Gibson.
Again, with health concerns, because Gibson has had some struggles staying in the lineup.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I believe that if he's playing, he's one of the better goalies in the league.
Absolutely. And they have a decent defense. They have Cam Fowler, who does his job well. They have... who am I thinking of? They have Boschman again this year.
Oh, man. I just got to say something here that I just saw.
What's that?
In injured reserve and long-term injury reserve this year, the Ducks have... That is $21 million.
Ooh, going into next season?
Going right now. Currently.
Right now.
$21 million in long-term and regular IR.
Interesting.
So they are really hurting, and it depends on when they can get healthy.
Yeah, for sure. And I just said that they had Boschman, or they have Boschman. They don't. They let go Boschman. They let go Bieksa.
Yeah, it's a lot of...
So, actually, they are less than what they were last year on defense.
But these are guys
Boschman's an older guy.
These guys were not effective and slow.
No.
This is addition by subtraction by them leaving. It was time for them to go and get the young guys who can, like Sam Steele and...
Who else is on their defense other than Cam Fowler? I'm blanking on this.
Hampus Lindholm can't...
There we go. Hampus Lindholm. I like Hampus Lindholm. He's a guy that does well on their defense. He's probably their number one defenseman.
Cam Fowler's the number one.
Cam Fowler, yeah.
Hampus Lindholm's very good.
Well, they play different roles.
Yeah, very different roles.
So, but as far as they go, they're good. Are they on the same pair?
I
don't remember.
They are.
They've been on the same pair in the past.
Not on the same
They're
pair.
not on the same pair.
They're both on the left side. Hampus Lindholm is the starter.
All right.
On the left with Brandon Montador.
Which Brandon Montour is not.
No, he's
a future. It's on the team at least.
It's one of those classic. One guy stays at home, the other guy kind of is solid defensively but can roam.
Yeah,
and it allows him to roam.
Who's playing with Fowler on that?
Manson.
Josh Manson, another guy that's young, that's not bad. So I mean, Anaheim still is in the playoff race. They're still in there. They still compete. But they're battling. Their key guys are battling.
Their whole defensive core is 28 and younger.
Yeah, their defense is
and that's not even
awesome.
including Steele because Steele looks forward. What am I saying?
Oh well, still. I
thought that he was a defenseman.
But either way, Anaheim still looks good.
Well, I guess that's a testament to him because he's good. He's a good defensive center then because I thought he played defense.
It's always help. I mean, two-way guy.
Oh, you can't win without one.
No,
you need one.
Well, that's where they have Getzlaf as well.
Yeah, Getzlaf is responsible.
He's an all-around guy.
He's responsible.
Absolutely, he's reliable. So Anaheim still the team they've been maybe a little bit less. It all kind of depends on Gibson, how Gibson does this year. If he does well, then they're good to go. Moving on, San Jose. This is an exciting team. Everyone's excited to watch them. Everyone's excited for their defense. The Erik Karlsson trade, right off the bat, that's a big deal right there. Erik Karlsson, Brent Burns. How do you feel about Vlasic, personally?
He's good.
Vlasic's good.
He's good.
He's
not like what everyone.
3 top defensemen.
A lot of people have him as like a Norris guy if he was on that team. No, he's not a Norris guy, but
he's above average.
He's above average.
Yeah,
a lot of teams in this league would take Vlasic on their team.
And he's not a point producing guy. He's a defenseman. He is a defenseman. Straight up, he plays defense.
Well, especially when you're compared to next to Brent Burns.
Oh yeah,
who's a forward playing defense.
Yeah. Evander Kane, we've already seen him score this year. In the first game.
Does he finally have his forever home? Is really the question there.
Yeah.
Is this to be the team?
If he produces like he did the end of last season,
he's
a top guy.
That's a problem if he does that. If he does for the rest of the league.
Absolutely. They still have Pavelski. They have Thornton still. Thornton signed for like nothing. But the big deal that we talked about before, me and Jake, is Erik Karlsson. Currently, they cannot exit this season with the same team they have.
No, there's not. There's not a way that they have this team next year.
No, absolutely not. They have to make a decent change to keep Erik Karlsson or let Erik Karlsson go. So this might just be.
I believe that Erik Karlsson is a rental for the San Jose Sharks and will be back on the market in July.
Yeah, that's what I believe. They could make some crazy change to keep him, but I don't think that's smart going forward for them.
They have a little over $1 million extra to sign Joe Pavelski, re-sign him. They're going to because he's their captain.
Absolutely. Look at Thornton. They've kept Thornton.
They're going to get $5 million back because Joe Thornton's done.
Yep.
He's absolutely not. I really doubt that he comes back after this year. Mm-hmm. Some younger guys, Donskoy, Timo Meier.
Donskoy's part of their future. Donskoy's on that team. He's pretty secure there.
But then they got Erik Karlsson.
Absolutely.
Who is going to he wants at least Drew Doughty money.
And Brent Burns is locked down, right?
Yeah, Brent Burns is locked down.
Vlasic locked down?
Yeah.
Vlasic's locked down. So they're not making defensive changes there. Between those 3 guys, it's Erik Karlsson that's going to have to change.
Either they keep him and some other guys on their forward depth isn't as good, and maybe they get some of those rookies, but they traded.
I don't know if they can afford to lose forward depth right now.
I don't think they can.
So
the big deal with the Evander Kane's trade was they finally got some depth. And that was what everyone thought might put them over the top.
Yeah,
because they always had the defense. They had the goalie, but they stack up too much in the top couple lines, and they need that third line.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's going to be huge going into the next offseason is what happens to Erik Karlsson and the San Jose Sharks? Do they part? So,
possible.
They could have such a great season this season. Let's look forward to it. But that might be it. That might be it right there. Their window might close soon.
They also are of an aging team.
Yeah,
not really.
absolutely.
They have some young guys that come in.
Yeah, but they're not going to lead that team.
That can fill in roles, but a lot of their core guys, household names, are very old.
Yeah, Pavelski's 34 now.
Pavelski's 34. Couture's 29 and just got that big contract.
Yep.
So that's not.
Vander Kane, how old is Vander Kane?
27.
He's 27, so he's still there. Joe Thornton's on the
39 years old.
Last season, maybe the last two seasons of his whole career.
He's been so slow and can't skate for the last 2 years now.
Absolutely.
So
this is, however you look at it, this team is not the same next year. Be excited for this team looking into the season. I'm excited. But that's it. They need to go all out this year.
The window's now.
And make it happen. Exactly. This is, they acquired Erik Karlsson to make this happen now. Now, if they can't make it happen now, changes need to be made next season anyway. So that's interesting. It is what it is. Moving on, LA. LA's another team. This whole division really seems to be closing windows for every team. LA's another team where they have a 2-3 year window left, and that's it. Obviously, Kovalchuk is a big deal on their team.
Question mark, too, but...
Question mark, always.
We don't know.
We've seen him put on moves in preseason.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. He still has the ability to do it, but how well can he produce coming out of Russia, going straight into the pros in the NHL? How can he compete against his competition? That's really what matters.
I believe Jeff Carter was hurt last year, too.
I think going into the season he was.
So they got the quote...
He's healthy now.
The quote 70s line, can they make the return?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that Anze Kopitar's not carrying the whole forward group.
I mean, Anze Kopitar is still the good player that he is. He's the captain. Nothing's going to change how he does.
He's a perennial Selke Trophy candidate.
Every year, yep. Absolutely. Jeff Carter still produces. How old is Jeff Carter now?
He's real old.
Yeah, he's up there in age.
30,
he still
33.
plays well.
33.
Well, he's not that far up there, but he still plays well. They have some young guys. Quick, again.
Which Quick will we see?
Yeah,
will we see
Absolutely.
2012 Jonathan Quick that single-handedly won them the Stanley Cup?
Yep.
Or the Jonathan Quick we've seen the last couple years now?
Yeah. So, I mean, he's had injuries the past 2 years.
Yeah,
that have
injury
hurt him
issues.
a little bit. But maybe he can bounce back this year and make this a real solid, healthy year. Being the top guy that we know he can be. We'll see there.
They're an old team. They're really scraping the years out of some of these players.
Yeah. Gabrick's gone this year. He's not there anymore.
Gabrick's gone.
So that's one thing,
I like who they drafted this year, Rasmus Kupari, but I don't believe he made the team. I don't think they signed him.
Which is what it is. I mean, that's how it goes.
Which is fine. You usually don't expect outside the top 5 to make it in year 1.
Yeah. Yeah, unless it's a team with no,
Yeah, you still don't usually put them in, throw them into the Wolves like that, unless you're Edmonton back in the day.
Yeah. So, I mean, LA is what it is. Their window again is closing, just like all these teams in this division.
The Pacific used to run the show.
Yeah.
Besides the heavy hitters in the Central, but that
now
window's
it's looking like tipping the other way. Yeah, absolutely. Central's a good division.
The shift
in hockey
might come right back soon.
Yeah.
Because there's
young guys that can make it happen still, as long as they step up. Arizona's a little bit exciting because Arizona has some future. They have players. They're starting to gain an amount of players that have potential.
They were the most dangerous team ending last year.
They were. Yeah, that's the thing.
By far.
Antti Rantanen was a big deal. He was making it happen in net the last half of last season. So if they can continue right off of last season, I mean, they played their first game this year. They did not do well. I think they got shut out.
They might have. They did?
They did. All right. So, maybe that's a little bit sketchy, but it's only one game. Are they playing today?
I didn't play. I was watching football all day today.
I'll give you. We have the NHL Network right in front of us. Ottawa's winning 3-2.
They played the Ducks.
They played the Ducks today.
Yes.
Interesting, because Kessler, I don't think, is he starting?
I don't think he's playing.
I don't think Kessler's starting. Corey Perry's not there, so maybe, something can happen there.
But Arizona is the story of which young guys become a big deal.
We have Clayton Keller to look forward to. We did. The Penguins are losing 4-1 against
Montreal.
the Habs, so that's interesting.
Hey, I think actually, well, when we get to Montreal, but I don't think Montreal's as bad as everyone thinks they are, and as much of a joke and a meme that everyone thinks they are.
Well, look forward to that because we're almost, we're still in the West. But Arizona, Clayton Keller, he can still produce like he did last year, hopefully.
I was really high on Clayton Keller when they drafted him.
He was a big deal. I mean,
that trade for they got Derek Stepan, who's still got years left on him. He's not that
and
old.
He produced last year, actually.
He's a solid player.
He produced.
When he was on the Rangers, he was the bane of my existence.
Yeah, who's their captain? Do they have they have Owiek.
Yeah, Oliver Ekman Larson.
OEL, my bad.
OEL.
LOL. OEL. So, I mean, he deserves that captainship.
He got paid too,
and he got paid. Absolutely, he's kind of locked down. Oh, and Galchenyuk.
Yeah,
maybe Galchenyuk can make a better career here.
Will he play center? Will he finally get a center spot?
Yeah. Dylan Strome.
Dylan Strome is a big key if they succeed this year.
They have the young guys to make
people
a
forget
good team.
that in their draft year, he was McDavid's guy.
Yeah.
It was them too. And he led the league in points, not McDavid.
Well, McDavid was
in the OHL back when they were juniors.
Yeah.
He was the one. Now, was it because of McDavid? Probably.
Yeah. But you can't just be too much of a scrub and not do that, he is a big deal. He is still there, He can perform. I mean,
so this will probably be his first full shot at the league.
Yeah.
I don't know if they count him as a rookie, but if he is a rookie, Calder possible.
Yeah. I mean, Clayton Keller was up there last year. He was a sure candidate at the Calder. So this is going to be interesting.
I don't know where he is on the lineup sheets, but Jacob Chikrin is one of my favorite young guys in the league. He's on IR, but
I've heard players say
a lot of players are on their IR.
Who's on their IR? Name them off.
Galchenyuk's on IR.
No way. For what?
I don't know. I just saw this.
I did not even know that.
Did not see that news. Jacob Chikrin, I remember something happened. I knew he was on the IR.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Dvorak, that's
still something. He's kind of a player there.
That's a good third line center for the team, but they have Dylan Strome and Clayton Keller.
So they need players to step up this year. They need players to step up to start the season until guys get off IR, and then they'll have a complete team to maybe make a run this year. I mean, this is a team. I've heard players say that they know if they play this team, it's not a cakewalk.
It's not a cakewalk.
They are going to be challenged playing this team. Every team is going to be challenged playing this team. Their home attendance is actually going up. They're starting to be an actual NHL team, which we haven't seen since Mike Smith and when was that?
2012 when they were killers.
That's right. That's right. They made it to the conference finals.
That was the year that they lost to LA in the conference finals when LA won their first cup.
Yeah. So that's Arizona can do something.
Or they completely frustrated the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Like they had them right where they wanted them. Seabrook had to give Jonathan Toews of all people a sit down, calm down talk when he's in the box. They frustrated the hell out of that team. Arizona's
something to look forward to. I'm excited for Arizona this season. I hope they can make something out of themselves again, and look forward to it. It's exciting.
Another problem that no one really thinks about, and I didn't really think about this much until the season with a couple of teams, is yes, there's a salary cap that the league applies to, but a lot of teams that are poorer, and they have internal caps, which you have to think about when it comes to Arizona.
Yeah.
They can't really. They have a ton of players that are on entry level deals. Almost their entire team is rookies and first to third year players.
Yeah, so it's a lot of guys that are going to need to be paid if they perform.
Which
can they pay him?
Can they pay him?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like on Arizona, these young guys want to create a team out of Arizona. Maybe they'll not want to get paid the price that they'll get paid on other teams. Maybe they'll want to stay on this team for a low price.
Really end up being worth getting paid.
So far, the front runner for that is Clayton Keller, obviously.
Yeah, but he still hasn't really put up big, huge numbers like a Mitch Marner, who we expect to get paid.
Absolutely.
A William Nylander, we'll talk about.
Yeah. So, I mean, Arizona's fun. Look forward to Arizona definitely being a competitor. There's no doubt about that. And, yeah, for Arizona fans.
They're a tough out. They're a tough out team.
This might be soon. You might not have to struggle so much with some loss here.
Maybe.
Calgary's interesting because they have Mike Smith. They have an established goalie that can perform with a team in front of him.
When he's healthy.
Yeah. He needs a team in front of him to do it. He stood on his head before in Arizona by himself.
There are very clear things when it comes to that team.
Yeah.
Last year, what happened with them? They
had the training struggle at one point in the season where just people were being lazy. That's where that coach flipped out and threw the stick in the stands.
There's a period of time on that team where if Monahan or Gaudreau didn't score, no one did.
Yeah.
So
they have depth.
They added depth now, which this is why I like this team a lot. I like this team.
Too.
They added depth with the Hannafin, Dougie Hamilton for Hannafin.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hannafin's a big deal. You and me both like Hannafin a lot.
I love Matt Hannafin.
I mean, he has a ceiling. Bless you. He has a ceiling. And Elias Lindholm, we know kind of what to expect out of him.
He's a good depth scorer. And along with James, they got James Neal on the team. And
Lindholm now won't have pressure on him like he did on a first-line role in Carolina.
Where no one scored.
Yeah, he was kind of what needed to happen in Carolina. Now, he can kind of lay back a little bit, watch his team succeed, and succeed with him.
He's on the first line.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
I'm actually surprised about that. Who's on the first line?
Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, Elias Lindholm.
That's a pretty awesome first line, though.
But they got Derek Ryan, another guy that they signed from Carolina.
Yeah.
And James Neal on the third line. And Sam Bennett, who a future top 5 pick on the fourth line.
Yeah.
With Mark Jankowski.
Sam Bennett on the fourth line, huh?
He's been such a disappointment, man. I mean,
really?
He's a skilled player and you can see it, but like
he's performed. I've seen him perform in the playoffs.
It was really a big deal that draft year with Ekblad and Sam Reinhart. Was which Sam are they going to pick with the number 2 after Ekblad?
I mean, Sam Bennett, I really don't think is that bad.
No, he's skilled, but he's got to show that he hasn't lived up to hype, I should say.
Yeah,
he's been good.
That's fair.
He has not lived up to hype.
On a fourth line, I think he's there. He's fine on a fourth line.
Another fast player like Jankowski with him, too.
Yeah. So, their defense, we got Hannafin.
They have one of the best defenses in the league.
Who else do they have?
They should have, I don't see it on there. On this, they should have Hamonic, too.
Travis Hamonic?
He's on IR.
Travis Hamonic is on IR.
But they have one of the best defensive cores in the league.
Name him off? I mean,
Mark Giordano, TJ Brody, Noah Hannafin, Dalton Prout, Hamonic when he comes back.
Yeah.
It just really comes down to, will they have depth scoring like they should to keep pressure off the top line, who we know what they can do. And Mike Smith, before he got hurt last year, was doing real well, and then when he came back,
not
good at all.
But honestly, so the whole team the whole team didn't really have the best second half of the season. If they can stay consistent, the entire team throughout all their lines, through the goalie position, I think they're a top contender. I mean, they're playing in a tough division, so
I have something that'll shock you later.
We'll see later.
Yeah.
All right, I'm excited for that. But Vegas now. We're moving on to Vegas.
The final team of the
possible hangover team. Even though they didn't win, they didn't look too good in their first game.
Bobby Lou's hurt.
Oh, that's rough.
Well, that takes out one of our keys later.
That does not look good.
That's not good. Or to fill you in, we're watching
highlights
from the games and Roberto Luongo seems to have just gotten hurt.
Oh, what is this?
Turn the sound on us.
Wait. We have an update. Give us a real second.
The answer to this is a bridge deal. I can tell you that it hasn't been seriously contemplated at all.
I don't think they're doing it.
We're currently listening to the William Nylander contract update.
4 or 5 year deal. Now, it's important to note that usually in these situations, there's a sense that there's a pressure point because of
I don't. Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're not announcing anything. It's not a breaking news. Okay.
We'll get to that when we get to that. But Vegas, weak defense on paper, absolutely. You wrote that in the notes, but that's so true.
Again, it's everything on them.
Look at Shea Theodore. They gave him so much money, Shea Theodore. I'm not convinced on Shea Theodore. Nate Schmidt is suspended for how many games? What are we talking about? 20 games. 20 games
for the PEDs.
So he's not there. Nate Schmidt's a guy.
I want to get into that when we...
I'm a Washington Capitals fan. So we had Nate Schmidt on the Capitals. And Nate Schmidt was a guy that can break out the puck well. He was a guy that can power an offense a little bit too in the defense position. He can put on some shots. He knows how to pass. He's not so good defensively. But as an offensive guy playing a defense position, he's not bad. He can stay back, and he knows when to go up. But Nate Schmidt's not going to be playing for 20 games, a quarter of the season.
It's another one of those things where he says that it's such a small dose. It's very similar, if anyone's a UFC fan, to the John Jones first suspension that he got. Believed to be a taint supplement, but some people say that it was just because timing with a microdose. This is kind of over my head. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, no matter what, he appealed. I don't know if he appealed it.
I don't believe he
But either way, he suspended 20 games. There's nothing about that. Stastny was a solid sign.
Yeah, they lost some pieces, but they reloaded it with Pacioretty and Stastny.
I mean, I think losing James Neal and picking Paul Stastny is a pretty replaceable. That's a pretty similar type of player.
That would be the wingers. So it'd be Pacioretty replacing him, and then David Perron with Stastny.
That's fair. I mean, that's not bad.
No, that's an upgrade of positions. But again, it's up to this team.
A big deal. You know how, especially Montreal fans, have just been looking to Pacioretty to make a change, and he has just not been playing that well. I mean, he's not.
He had a bad year. He had a bad year last year.
Don't want him to play.
He had a bad year last year, but he's a pretty much take it to the bank 30 goal scorer every year.
Yeah. But even in Montreal, he was, criticized so much. Now he's not under all this pressure like he was in Montreal from the fans. Any production that Vegas puts up, fans are happy about. They still cheer on their team. Apparently, it's so loud in the arena. I don't know if it's away fans or what, but still.
I will say it was a lot of away. As a Flyers fan, I watched the game 2 days ago, and there were quite a few Flyer fans, even not even involved with the game fans.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's interesting. That's true. I didn't even realize that, but whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see how Pacioretty does on this team.
The defense got abused a bit in that game. Like that defense on paper, it maybe. I don't know. It was a lot of magic last year that they kind of captured, magic in a bottle. Yeah. There for people who are big into some of the advanced analytics, there's a stat called PDO, and it's basically like, are you getting the bounces more or less a luck stat?
Puck luck.
Are you getting puck luck?
Yeah.
It's like their shooting percentages were through the roof. Like everything would just seem to be going in.
That's true. That's true.
Their PDO
was standing on his head.
Was incredibly high.
Yeah.
And 100 is baseline, and any one tick either direction is huge. And they were a 105, I believe.
Yeah, so that's like a big deal.
That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of their success last year...
I think William Karlsson was shooting at 20%.
Yeah, I think there's less pressure on William Karlsson this year, too, now that Pacioretty's there and Stastny's there, so that's something. A lot of their success last year also had to do with Fleury.
Fleury carried them, but then again, when I say they had 4 different goalies hurt, they're on their fifth goalie.
That's also true.
Like it was just a magic in a bottle year, I think.
Absolutely.
But then again, I've been wrong about this team from the start.
All of us, you and me, we've all been wrong about this team. I picked them every series in that playoffs to lose. They won the first series in a shutout performance.
Nothing looking at them on paper makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's insane, and their speed is.
They're a very well coached and well structured team.
Yeah,
I noticed it in the playoffs mostly because when I finally got to watch them consistently, they are very structured with their breakout, with where everyone's supposed to be, what they do. It's clockwork every single time. They did the same thing. Everyone knew where to be.
Yeah,
and that was
they
really
perform, and they get it done. They were impressive last year, absolutely. I mean, is there a conversation to be had? Maybe is Fleury gassed out a little bit from last year?
Last year, I remember texting you during the final. We saw glimpses, a lot of looks at pre-therapy Fleury.
Yeah.
We're not confident in going in.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's interesting. For me, it's all about, can Fleury hold this team up again?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not so much about their offensive production for me this year. It's more about Fleury because I don't see the defense holding the team up, that's for sure.
I don't think the defense has that magic year where nothing went in on them.
Yeah, so it's all Fleury. It's all Fleury for me. If he's healthy the whole year, can he hold up the year? Or the team? I mean, Subban's not on this team again.
No, Malcolm Subban
Subban's not
No,
there.
yes, he is. He came in relief of Fleury in the game the other day.
He did.
He didn't let up
He
any
went to
goal.
a different team.
No, he was.
So Malcolm Subban's still on the team. So they still have that one too. So that's all right. And obviously we saw their other goalies play last year, and they were all right. So, I mean, we'll see how they do. Vegas is still kind of a competitor, but it is what it is. Moving on into the Central Division, we have Winnipeg. Winnipeg was exciting last year. Winnipeg was awesome. People were rooting for Winnipeg. I'm still kind of rooting for Winnipeg a little bit. They almost look like a favorite this year to put up some numbers and win this division.
It's two questions again, kind of like Calgary.
Yeah.
It's Hellebuck, was that a 1-year wonder thing? Mm-hmm. Will he have the gas to go because he has had the most starts in the last 3 years, or he's had some of the most starts in the last 3 years. He had 64 starts last year, which is way too many, and he played in 67 games, so he came in relief a couple.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, Hellebuck's,
which is really what happened in their collapse. Like, when they lost to Vegas, Hellebuck couldn't get the timely save, and he looked gassed.
Yeah, and Vegas was overwhelming them with speed. Absolutely. So, if they can hold that down a little bit more.
Yeah, so it really...
I mean, Stastny's gone.
Yeah, again, the second question is, can they replenish the magic number of 3 centers?
Yeah.
To win a championship, you need 3 centers.
Yeah. So...
3 centers, a goalie...
Who steps up in that position?
That's the question. Yeah. You don't really know yet.
I mean, they didn't really have many additions, subtractions.
No. They usually like to go a lot from within.
Team. So, again, it's kind of all on Hellebuck.
Their defense is very good.
I think of Hellebuck this season as Cam Talbot 2 seasons ago. Cam Talbot had a tremendous season. They went to the playoffs. I think of Hellebuck the same way. Hellebuck had a tremendous season last year. They went to the playoffs. If he doesn't do it again this season, I think of him like Cam Talbot. It's the same deal. If he can do it again, then it's not that way. But hopefully he can do it again. He can stay consistent and be a top goalie somehow again.
It's not good when your backup goalie is an Edmonton Oilers cast-off.
Who's that?
Laurent Brossoit, I believe that's how you say it. Get the French going.
I couldn't even tell you about him. So, I mean, it's really the same team as last year.
They believe that this. I saw a lot about the guy they have penciled in as their third line center, Roslovic. I've never heard of him before, actually having the name said, but
interesting.
I've heard a lot about him. They feel comfortable with him as the kind of the third line and moving Brian Little back up to the second. So is that the key they need? Maybe we'll see. I like a lot of the other guys they have on that third line, so I don't know if he has to be that big. Like Nikolai Ehlers is a very good player.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's consistent.
Very fast.
We know what we get from him, So that's really that when it comes to Winnipeg. They're not much different from last year. It's really all, can they do what they did last year again?
Yeah, it's really the only thing that changed is their third center.
Yeah.
And
as long as someone steps up there and Hellebuck plays consistently again, that's a solid team.
And can they get more production out of a backup goalie?
Yeah.
So that Hellebuck gets more rest.
That's true. Moving on, Colorado. Colorado's interesting because they had their terrible season 2 seasons ago. And then last season, they snuck into the playoffs, correct?
Yes.
They snuck into the playoffs on the back of McKinnon. So does McKinnon play a Hart season again this year?
It's very hard unless you're a guy like McDavid, Crosby. to follow up magic runs, like big seasons like that, twice in a row. I mean, they got Mikko Rantanen. That line they have is very good on the top line, and that's the thing, is that line carried them, and they didn't have a lot of depth, so it was really, really on McKinnon, which is why he was a Hart candidate.
Absolutely. Their
goaltending was terrible last year, or at least they had a lot of injuries in that sense that they were...
I mean, they had Varlamov, when he played, did well last year.
Varlamov is okay, but I believe that they're hanging their hat right now on Grubauer.
Which, I mean, as a Capitals fan, Grubauer was a big deal as a backup. And when he had to step in instead of Holtby, he did the job well. And he can play starter minutes. I mean, the guy's a good goalie, especially as a backup. He was a high-end backup in the league, maybe the best in the league in the previous year or two. So it's all kind of, can he play a starting position?
Yeah.
If he has to.
They have a couple young guys in that second line with Kerfoot and Tyson Jost. Which, if you know anything about Tyson Jost, just a good story about him with his family, but different topic.
Fair.
And then Carl Soderberg is a third line center, so they do have the makeup to have some depth. Will it come through? As a change, they brought in the young guys probably take a step. They're still in their low 20. I believe Jost is 20 years old. So
I mean,
it's really, can they take the pressure off McKinnon enough to where they get secondary scoring, and can Eric Johnson stay healthy?
Yeah. I mean, their defense is iffy to me a little bit.
Yeah, it's not very
They
great.
don't have some top players that they might need.
Eric Johnson and Tyson Barrie are good.
Tyson Barrie is I would say, their top defenseman.
And then their goalie has to step up.
Absolutely.
They got to have better goaltending.
Whoever their goalie is.
Yeah,
both their goalies, I guess. Their 1-2 needs to step up. And they could make it to the playoffs again. They're in a tough division. Tough. Dallas does a little bit better this year than they did last year. Maybe that's just really a rough thing there. So, moving on, like I said, to Dallas. Now. Dallas had an off year last year, I believe. They were a little slow last year. They weren't as consistent. Ben Bishop is a definite concern.
Health.
Is he healthy?
It's a lot of health. A lot of these question marks are all health.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ben Bishop, we've seen him do major things.
When he was with Tampa.
Tampa Bay, he was in that playoffs. He had that playoffs against New York.
And then the Blackhawks.
When they made the Cup. And he was phenomenal that playoffs. Absolutely phenomenal. Maybe the best goalie in that playoffs. So, he hasn't been there since then. He went to LA as a backup.
Was not good.
He went to Dallas as a starter last year, I believe.
And it's been health. This has been his story.
I mean, the big guy in net, can he be what they need him to be? Nichushkin.
Valery Nichushkin, yeah. They got him. He came back from Russia.
Yeah.
I was big on him when he was playing originally in his first stint when he got drafted. Will he fill in some of that? Because it was very much Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Radulov.
Yeah.
Nobody else. It was their show.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's kind of a little bit of a drop-off from there. I mean, they just had depth from there on.
They got Spezza.
Spezza's...
They got a young guy
a little bit
playing down in their lineup right now, Roop Hintz.
Okay. Tell me about him.
He's someone I think that they would like to see give some... a little surprise I'm seeing right now that he's on the fourth line.
All right.
But I believe he's a rookie. I don't believe he played last year. I believe he's a rookie year.
I mean, what I've seen from Jamie Benn this season so far is he's back up to who he is, and he's back up to a top goal scorer, and he's doing his thing. He's doing well.
Their defense is very good. It's really just, can they score?
Yeah, absolutely. Can they do what they did 2 years ago and have a great season again?
Yeah. Can Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn be those point per game guys along with some secondary? That's the question.
To me, I don't think they go deep in. I don't see them as a deep in the playoffs kind of team.
I don't see them making the playoffs.
I want to see them surprise me in that way.
Yeah.
I know they can make the playoffs. It's possible easily that they can make the playoffs.
It's possible they squeak in as probably a wild card too.
Yeah, but I don't see them as a deep playoff kind of team at all.
Yeah, they needed more. They were basically kind of the opposite of the Islanders of last year, where they had Islanders were all offense and could they just keep the puck out of the net. Mm-hmm. The Dallas is very much the opposite. They keep the puck out of the net. Can they score?
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean,
I don't think they added enough. The Nichushkin is not really.
He's that one player on a second line kind of thing is not going to make.
And he's not even playing right now. I believe he's on the IR.
Oh man.
So it's. Now watch, we're going to be wrong about everything, but.
Yeah, they're going to make a deep playoff run, and that's that.
I don't think they added enough.
They would definitely need to convince me to make a deep playoff run. I mean, I don't see that happening.
I don't see the additions making the difference.
Absolutely, they need to
changing
the
needle.
Well,
I don't see it moving the needle.
Yeah. Moving on to Chicago, which is quite
interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting topic
because the season they had last year was surprising to me. I mean, they just blew it last year.
I was waiting for this.
Yeah,
I saw this.
They got swept the 2 years in a row.
I'm not gonna say I saw it coming but I remember being in this very room telling them when they were going into the Nashville series, I don't think they win a game.
And then there it was.
They did not win a game. They were a poor matchup, and then I think they overreacted and traded Panarin with one of the worst trades in NHL history.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon Saad hasn't produced up to any par that
you cannot expect to. They wanted to recapture like glory years. I don't understand it.
I mean, they had Sharp again too, which he just melted away into
he's done
retirement. I believe
he's
now,
done,
right?
Yeah.
So
he was done then.
Marian Hossa is retired now. Not that they had him last year, but he's retired.
He's injury retired. He's currently being owned by Arizona in one of those situations.
Yeah. Which is a little bit sad because Marian Hossa he had a career.
Yeah. And
he was a staple in that town for a little bit. Crawford, the whole goalie situation, really.
Crawford.
Interesting. Cam Ward, maybe their top goalie right now. I mean, that's who played game one that they played this season.
Yeah, because the good thing is
they're playing right now. I don't know if Cam Ward's in, but yeah.
But the good thing is it's looking now like Corey Crawford, his career is not over like they were fearing.
Yeah.
He's been suffering with vertigo, and it's been such a shame because he was really, when you look at it now with what happened last year, he's their MVP.
Absolutely.
I used to trash him all the time saying it was not him, and I was proved completely wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was a consistent guy on the team, and he was kind of their guy for a long time, and he was the goalie.
Yeah,
for that team. He was the goalie for a long time. He won those cups as well as the rest of the team, other than the Niemi year. And
oh God.
and but Crawford won those 2 cups. You know, I mean, Crawford was on the team. He's made those stops. He's played some really great games. We've seen him be a little bit inconsistent here and there, but what goalie isn't? You know, it is what it is. He has kind of a defense. Duncan Keith,
was historically bad. Again, it's one of those situations like Edmonton.
Yeah.
It was historically bad. Like if he didn't score a goal in that last game, he would have gone down as the worst shooting percentage in NHL history.
He didn't do
and
much
also,
last
and
year,
also
but
he only
neither
had
did the team.
He only had like 2 primary points, so a goal or a first assist.
And he's a top guy, a star defenseman on the team. That's unacceptable.
A former Norris Trophy winner, I believe Conn Smythe as well.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
So Duncan Keith needs to make a big impact this year if he wants to continue to be the star defenseman he is. Otherwise, Chicago's
they got
stuck.
Help coming there though with the defense, because as bad as the legacy Bowman, as I call him, not nearly what his dad was, but the last 2 years drafting defensemen, they've hit some big home runs, or at least one for sure. I would say the last 2 years in 2017. I'm not going to even try to attempt this name. It's
Who's
you take
that?
a look at it. I cannot say Joki Haru, I believe.
Joki Haru or Joki Hara or something like that. Yeah,
But I remember,
Henry
I
Jokiharu.
remember seeing him get drafted. I just cannot say his name.
yeah. But you expect him to do what?
Do well. I believe he made their lineup.
Okay.
And he's going to be, and he's playing. I believe
Actually,
he's
I
playing.
think he is. They also have Adam Boquist.
Who I think honestly was the best offensive player, which is saying something of defensive in that draft. Especially, which is saying something when Donald Rasmus Dahlin, not John, the other. Rasmus Dahlin is in that same one, and you saw what he did.
So I mean, they have a future a little bit, especially on defense. On offense, we have Jonathan Taze is already looking pretty decent in the few time that he's played this season so far.
He's not normally a big, huge points guy. He's a very solid center, like I said.
No, he's one of those Anze Kopitar, maybe not the
Selke.
best production guys that are up there and always grinding
And
and
he's
making stuff happen for the team and creating plays, not with the puck, but in other kind of ways. You know, he's in
also
front of the net.
He's one of the best leaders in the NHL.
Absolutely, he was he was the youngest at the time that he was promoted to captain. So, I mean, the guy's a big deal. There's some controversy there the past 2 years because they're like, you know, fans or just people in general are questioning, you know, is he a star player? But I think absolutely he is, whether he produces or not. He is their captain still.
Absolutely.
You know,
he's worth
if he's
all
healthy
the money
and he's
got.
there, he's worth it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's worth a lot of money, but he is worth it. Patrick Kane is Patrick Kane. He'll always produce. He always does. Whether he doesn't have 100 points, he's got above 80, and you know he's going to have above 80 no matter what happens. Other than those two, what else do we have on offense that is something to look forward to?
lot of
that's
guys.
not to be just a lot of people.
A lot of guys.
And that's that. Not a lot of talent or not a lot of production. Talent, yes, but not a lot of production. Who else is on their first?
DeBrincat,
yes. DeBrincat is a future there.
Hey, giving us short guys some hope.
Who else? Who's playing on the first line?
DeBrincat, Jonathan Taze, and Calhoun.
Who?
Calhoun.
Interesting.
I believe I just butchered that.
Interesting. I don't even know who that is.
Probably
to be
should have
honest
watched the
with you.
screen and listened to the name said because it's on the TV right now. But
Yeah. Who's their second line?
Schmaltz, Sod, and Kane.
Schmaltz has produced on the team. He's been a little something on the team. That's not terrible, actually.
And they got Chris. They picked up Chris Kunitz.
Chris Kunitz, which is
Oh.
it is who he is. I mean, Chris Kunitz.
Hey, but then he signed.
He has 4 cups
He usually likes
for
to
a
go to whoever's going to win the cup.
Yeah. It's Toronto last year. Come on.
But Tampa. He was with Tampa.
Oh yeah, Tampa. Wrong tee, same blue uniforms. Anisimov.
He's a good player.
Is he declining though? What do you think? Because he used to be a big deal with Kane, and now he's just kind of.
A lot of players are
Last
good
year,
with.
silent.
A lot of players are good with Patrick Kane.
That's true. But he was silent last year.
A lot of that team was silent last year.
That's fair.
Like
That's
I'm just
fair.
gonna say one of those like that year for the Blackhawks. I really think it was a lot of as they say, burn the tape.
Yeah.
I don't think that's who you're gonna see this year. I don't think they make the playoffs.
All right. I mean, it's a competitive division, very competitive conference.
I don't think they're. I mean, if Corey Crawford plays starting game number like a starter's amount of games, they have a chance. But
Yeah.
I don't see him coming back.
You don't see Cam Ward doing
No, Cam-
what? Yeah, Cam Ward's
We will not see the return of 2006 Cam Ward.
rookie year going ham, getting him Carolina
Two
to a
playoff
cup.
rounds and unreal.
Come on, I mean,
He's
not the same
That
Cam
dude
Ward.
steals
We know.
more money than anybody in the NHL history.
Moving on, Nashville. Nashville's still the team they were 2 years ago. They're still competitive. Mike Fisher's not on there again, like he wasn't the start of
Who
last
knows?
year.
They'll come back.
Maybe he'll
again.
come back again. He still lives in Nashville, so who knows? Carrie Underwood lets him.
Luckiest man in the world.
Oh yeah. Pekka Rinne. You listed him as the key. I agree. Pekka Rinne has the potential to be. I mean, he was a Vezina winner last year.
Last year? No.
Was he? Who was the Vezina winner last
I
year?
don't even remember.
I think it was Pekka.
Was it really?
I think it was
I didn't
Pekka.
pay attention to any of the award
He
show
was
because
at least if he wasn't, he was a second. completely.
I was very angry at the award show, so I boycotted it.
So Pekka Rinne can do well. We know. I don't know where that came from. I think that was my water bottle. Oh, that was yours. Pekka Rinne can do well. He's a star goaltender. They have, I mean, no matter what, he still has like the strongest defense in the league in front of him.
Yeah, strong.
Their top 4 defense is insane.
They are a complete team.
Absolutely.
Strong defense. They have the magic number and a very strong 3 center depth.
Absolutely.
It just really will.
They have
Pekka,
and they have youth on the team along with that.
Yeah, they're not
that
old,
performs. They have
too.
Kevin Fiala. He is a good player on the team. They love Kevin Fiala. They have, who else do they have that's some youth on the team?
Kyle Turris is not old.
Kyle Turris is not old. They have
Ryan
Yarn Kroc,
Johansson's
who's
not
good.
Philip Forsberg, Christ.
Phil Forsberg, I don't want to talk about the trade with the Capitals. We could have had him, but whatever. Philip Forsberg is still a top guy on the team.
Ryan Hartman.
is
Very good
from
third
Chicago.
line.
Absolutely. I mean, they have depth all the way down through their lines,
They're
their
a
defensive
very,
pairings.
very good team.
They are, I see them as the top team in the Western Conference again this year. For sure. I just don't see it going any other way.
Can Pekka keep it together long enough to take him over the top? And that's what the question is.
Absolutely.
The last 2 years, he has not. He fades. He has faded when
He's
they need
good,
him.
he's bad, he's good, he's bad. He's inconsistent. I mean, the playoffs kind of fell on him a little
Pekka's
bit.
too good right now.
And he felt it in the
meme.
playoffs because he kind of took blame for their lack of success in the playoffs last year.
I would agree with that.
But he literally said to the media that it's all on him.
Yep.
They lost those playoffs because of him. So I bet you him feeling that way, he's trained in the offseason. I'm sure he's ready for this season to do well. I am sure that he's ready to go on a run this year. So other than that, I mean, you're looking at the same team as it's been.
Yep.
Same competitor, top team in the division team.
Don't touch. It's one of those things. Don't touch it. Let it ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't fix what's not broken.
Don't be the Blackhawks.
No. Moving on, Minnesota. Dubnyk, the goalie. He had a great season last year. I had him on fantasy, and he was tremendous. He was awesome.
It's a workload thing. Just like some other goalies we've mentioned, he is the one who's played second most in the last 3 years to Cam Talbot.
And you saw what happened to Cam Talbot.
It's like these goalies, but it seems always like Dubnyk can take it year to year.
Yeah. Who's their backup on that team?
I don't even know because they don't play him.
Fair enough. I mean, Dubnyk plays enough games and has success like he has. They don't need a backup.
He plays over 60 games almost every year.
Yeah. Dubnyk's a solid goaltender.
Stalock is their
backup. Whoever that is at that point.
He's backup.
Yeah. He's a backup goalie. So, Devin Dubnyk, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves.
No, he's very underrated.
Because their defense also isn't the best defense.
Is very good.
They're good, but you're not looking at, what Pekka looks at in front of them.
No, but they've got Suter, Dumba, Spurgeon, Brodeen. They are good defense.
Fair. That is a very good defense. You're right.
And they got other players like Luke Kunin, who's hurt right now, who's a good player, but he's...
And on offense, their top player...
Eric Stahl, I do not... That year...
Yeah.
He's not...
Eric Stahl, absolutely.
I highly doubt he repeats what he did last year.
I feel like, really... I mean, to me, this is kind of like the last year Zach Parise has to convince me that he's still good.
That he's still the guy.
Because Zach Parise has just been...
Still won't forgive them for causing a lockout.
Zach Parise, he did so well on New Jersey, had the success he had individually with himself, and then he goes to Minnesota, and it's just drop-off time. Since then,
and Suter.
He has not had a season that is... Has he even scored more than 30 goals since he left Jersey?
If he did, it's quiet because no news ever comes out of Minnesota.
No, I mean,
or at least on the national media.
That's true. Parise is just a guy that needs to do something with his career at this point. I mean, he is too silent.
Since leaving New Jersey, his top goals was 33.
Okay, so he's scored over 30.
He's had 29, 33, 19, 15.
So those last 2 years were 19, 15?
Yes.
I mean, granted, he's had injuries.
The 15 was only...
He's had injuries.
The 15 goal year, he only had 42 games played. So half a season.
I mean, still though, like, he's not a top player on that team right now. He doesn't play like it, and he's not getting them where they need to go.
That contract is horrid.
And the contract. I mean, how many years does he have left on the contract?
I don't even know when the thing ends.
It's still going
goes
on for
off
over
the
6 years.
It still goes off the screen on Cap Friendly.
I mean, come on.
And it's one of those, but to that point, it's one of those illegal contracts from before the lockout where in 2022, 23, he's going to be done. He's going to be gone. He's going to be IR Island. Mm-hmm. Where, we don't know what happened. He's failing physicals.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks and Leafs strategy.
Yeah.
Because his real salary paid, not his cap hit, goes from $9 million, $9 million, $8 million, $6 million, down to $2 million. Which is the reason why I said Henrik Zetterberg, we'll talk about later, wasn't going to play at all this year regardless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I mean...
And then it's $1 million to the end.
Zach Parise is just like, he has to do something to rejuvenate his career. His career, to me, is just not what it was. He's not the star player on the team. He's not worth the contract he has on the team.
And he was demoted to the second line. He's a winger, never mind.
Yeah.
He was demoted to the second line, but I was going to say because he got kicked out by Stahl, but he's a winger. And
I mean, I feel like they just don't have the star power.
They don't have star power. They're a bunch of... Now, they got some good younger guy. I got at least one good younger guy, Eriksson Ek.
Okay.
I like.
All right.
But it's a lot of just under-the-radar guys who just kind of do and plug along. And they're not going to wow you.
And look at the teams they're playing against.
They are...
it's rough to me.
Yeah, on here it says, can they compete with the heavy hitters? And then no.
You wrote, no, LOL in all caps. They're just not... I don't even see them making the playoffs at all.
I don't, no.
So, I mean, that is what it is. That's Minnesota for you. Moving on, the Blues are, once again for the second offseason, interesting. Completely interesting.
Yeah, last year, the Braden Shen trade started real hot for them. And then they all kind of hit a slide at the same... Everyone hit a slide.
Yeah.
It was that again. It's another thing where they didn't have depth.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have depth, and it cost depth. When you don't have depth, it costs you.
Absolutely, and
when it's all in one line, you're not gonna go for it.
Hey, Will, calm down a little bit, buddy. Coughing in the phone.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're all getting the cough shot now.
Oh man.
No, you calm down too. Don't.
I'm not crazy. I'm not like super like gonna like just.
There goes the professionalism.
All right. They needed to break silence at one point. So, get him out, Will. Get him out.
I muted myself for like 15 minutes. I just sat out in my living room because you guys were just talking away.
Yeah, you don't even need it here.
So Ryan O'Reilly, Tyler Bozak, those are solid acquisitions. Acquisitions.
Spit it out.
I can't even accusations. Those are solid acquisitions.
And that gives them their magic 3 centers.
Yeah. Who's their first?
Braden Shen.
First center, huh?
Yep.
Jeez. And second center would probably land at Ryan O'Reilly.
It depends on who they put. I believe they're interchangeable between Riley and Shen. This has them that second line, Braden Shen, but he was the first line last year with that.
And their third line, they're starting who?
Bozak. With Steen and Perron, that's a good third line.
Yeah, that's a great
deep.
third line.
And Robert Thomas is a good prospect playing on the fourth line.
Okay. I mean, they're a solid team. Tarasenko always plays well. He plays top guy over 30 goals for sure. That's how that is. Their defense is still have Pietrangelo, who's awesome.
They have the magic keys, all but one, for what you would consider a cup favorite or cup contender.
All but one. He just let up the goal too.
3 centers, 3 good lines, a number 1 defenseman, and they actually have 2 of them depending on what age they were. But
yeah,
Bouwmeester was a very good.
Great.
He still is good.
Yeah.
Colton Parayko, a young guy.
Colton Parayko's exciting. He's an offensive guy. He can put shots on net from the blue line. He's an awesome guy to watch.
So they got that defense, but it all comes down to Jake Allen. Allen will determine how far they go.
Absolutely. And they lost.
It's a guy
their backup, I believe.
Who
was their backup? Whoa, what are you doing? phone mic, buddy.
What?
You're like,
Yeah, hit yourself on mute there, bud.
jeez. So Jake Allen, that's the question.
It's Chad Johnson. They lost
Chad
Carter
Johnson.
Hutton.
Yeah, Carter Hutton, they lost to Buffalo. He's like the starter there, I think, right now.
He is.
With Robin Leonard gone. So the Blues are interesting. We don't know what's going on there.
Like that. Yep.
With the goalie, Jake Allen, he's a question. So, if Jake Allen does well, what do you see them doing?
If Jake Allen becomes what I always thought and hyped he was going to be, the sky's the limit for this team. But that's, again, he hasn't been, and he's very let me down because he was one of my guys.
All right, fair enough.
It's kind of gotten to the point where it's like I can't call you a young guy reaching potential anymore. Like it gets to a point where you kind of see what you are.
Mm-hmm.
So
here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop the podcast here, and then we're going to start another podcast and go over the east side, and then go over what we see in the playoffs being, and then the future from there, and some of the awards and stuff.
One more thing about the Blues before we go here.
Yeah.
They got some injuries.
Okay.
Carl Gunnarsson is I don't think he's going to play this year. I believe that's just taken on a contract.
Okay.
But he's a solid. I believe he also signed in the KHL, which is why I'm surprised to see him on here.
That's interesting because he's a solid guy.
He's a good third line depth guy.
He's done well in the Blues.
He was very underappreciated when he was at the Leafs back in the day.
Yeah.
But Oscar Sundqvist, don't know if he would be an impact player, but we won't know now.
No, we don't because of Tom Wilson here. Absolutely. But with his head down like that, I don't know. That's questionable, but maybe he wasn't ready yet for the pros. But yeah. So is that all you have for the Blues?
Yeah, it's really Jake Allen. That's their story.
Fair enough. So we're going to stop this here, and then we'll continue up again for the East.
Worried about keeping up with your fave friends all summer? Or posting every perfectly pink sunset you see? Don't sweat the Connect. You can have it made in the shade with 4 lines of unlimited data for $100 a month. Scroll the staycation pics, find your new go-to takeout spot, or catch some rays on video chat. Whatever you and the crew are into, all the data makes it all that much better. Smile. You're on Cricket.
Cricket Core acquired on 4 lines. Data speed limited to 3 megabits per second. Cricket may slow data speeds when the network is busy. Additional fees, usage, and restrictions apply.